Welcome back to another episode of the Inkwell podcast. I'm your host, Todd Rayner, and I have a returning creator, Nick. Let's just get him in here and get started with this. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good. How are you tonight?
Yeah, we're hanging in there. Can't complain. I mean, you launched a purity campaign, which is what we're going to talk about here in a minute. I got
Yeah,
my campaign coming out next Friday, so I mean, we're rolling.
yeah. Look, tis the season, man. Like
Yeah.
I know for whenever I put out Kickstarters, March is like my send off month. So
Mm-hmm.
happy to see a lot of other people. It's like March is like their entry month or like their the month where everything kicks off. So to a happy and healthy launch.
Yeah, same. I mean, you've already funded, which is great.
Thank you.
For those, let's say first time watchers here, since you are a returning guest, uh, you know, kind of give us an abridged version of like how you got into comics and kind of, your whole thing here, your background.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Nick Caponi. I am president of Sky Maiden Studios, creator of Purity. I'm also
Mhm.
a comic book colorist for Dynamite, Image, Archie, IDW, and a lot of other indie publishers. I got into comics at a very young age. Started with watching a lot of Hercules and Xena growing up. I actually idolized Kevin Sorbo until I realized he's not
Uh,
really a great person in real life, so that was disappointing. But I that was my gateway, and then I started getting into the basics: Spider-Man, X-Men.
mhm.
I was a big X-Men kid.
Yeah.
I liked the Bat family, and
Mhm.
then my first comic book that I like truly picked up with my own allowance at a young age was Catwoman number 13 by Jim Ballant. Um,
Nice.
that was my awakening at a very young age. I feel like that's not an appropriate book for a young kid, but that I think what made me love the female form and the comic art form as a whole. And when I was growing up, I was reading a lot more of the Catwoman stuff, Batman, and then I went to the Joe Kubert School as a
Yeah.
for like their kid programs, and then I went to the college program, and then I started working there as an instructor. And in the between that, I broke in as a colorist, and I still color, and now we're here back in 2023. I launched my first book, Purity number one, and
Mhm.
here we are, the fourth issue.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a very quick getting everybody up to speed. You've done quite a bit. I tried to watch Xena. I have to say I love the whole sword and sorcery thing, but like my wife and I, we were like, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes in, and we're like, I don't know, it's kind of a rough watch. It doesn't hold up as much as I wanted it to, you know,
I
but it's
think
still
it
fun.
doesn't. I think it doesn't. How do I put it? I actually recently watched an episode not so long ago. It's just very 90s. I
Yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
problem. If it was like a more serious show,
yeah,
like Game of Thrones style, it I think with the times it would be
yeah,
like even better.
yeah,
But it was the 90s. There's the campiness to it. There's
yeah.
just, that was the era where, it was cool where like you have a sword maiden character
Hmm.
and what's his face? That I didn't realize that was Sam Raimi. That was all Sam Raimi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had
And
no idea.
and the character Jockster in Xena, like the comedic relief, the little goofy guy, that's
Hmm.
Sam Raimi's brother.
Oh,
And
jeez.
I
Okay.
found this out recently. I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
It's like we don't have reasons to kind of dig into stuff until like social media and then internet and all that. And there's just such a wealth of information and we end up learning a lot of fun stuff about things we grew up in, you know.
yeah.
So let's just dive into purity because I have the issues. I love it. I like the idea, the character, like everything kind of behind it. Takes place in Salem, which is an awesome city. So, Massachusetts, that is. So yeah, tell us about Purity for those that don't know.
So I was saying this on a recent show, but I it's almost like I came to terms with the fact that Purity is essentially a spoof on
Hmm.
Adam Sandler's Little Nicky. So basically, what it's about? It's about a Puritan woman named Margaret Adams is wrongfully accused of witchcraft by her sister. We later find out it was kind of like a ploy. It was kind of like it was kind of like a devious plan that her sister Mary, who's an actual witch, made a deal with the devil for
Hmm.
immortality. Had to switch her soul with the soul of a virgin. So she framed her sister to go to the underworld, and Purity awakens and is like killed at the stake because she's a witch. And she wakes up in the underworld and she's enslaved there for over 400 years. And then one day she has it. She hasn't seen her sister in the underworld yet. She realizes what her sister's done. And after finding out the truth, she decides to make a run for it and retrieve her sister herself. And that is by escaping through the gates of hell. And it's just a large, fiery abyss. And she does so, but here's the thing: it freezes the gates of hell, so no new souls can come in. And let's just say Satan doesn't like that.
Yeah.
And so Satan sends her two, at the moment, best bounty hunters to the mortal world to retrieve Purity. And Purity awakens. And it's not the Salem that she remembers, it's
Hmm.
actually Salem 2096. So it's a very futuristic Salem. And she finds out throughout her journey of questioning and interrogating people, she finds out her sister is a celebrity CEO of Miss Adams Coffee Company, and it's known throughout the entire country. She's a multi-millionaire, almost billionaire, and she's this phenomenon. And now Purity is on the hunt for her sister, not realizing she's also being hunted. And along the way, she meets a friend. His name is Arav Tucker. He's a homeless emo youth in Salem, and personally, he's one of my all-time favorite characters that I've ever created. He's a lot of fun to draw and write. Um, and then in this issue, period number 4, we we are hitting that showdown. We're hitting the showdown
Hmm.
between Purity and the bounty hunters, and in the midst of that, Satan is, watching, having front row seats with this, and she has a lot of realizations of what's going on, and also there's a fun little dream sequence that happens in this book as well. So, but this book is action packed. Definitely the most action packed we've seen so far in this series. It was a
Hmm.
lot of fun to draw. It's 32 pages, so it's the longest page count in a Purity book so far. And there are just a lot of fun things happening, a lot of fighting. Purity uh, forms this like flame armor as you see over here. There's a little secret behind that I'm not going to give away.
Hmm.
But Purity has this really epic battle between the two bounty hunters, Vex and Amadeus. Who will win? Who will die? We won't know. We won't know. But there's a lot of things that are happening in this issue, and one thing that, like all the issues, it's like I press the gas and I press the brakes with the storytelling. And what I mean by that is I really want to build a good story. So, you
Hmm.
know, issue 1, there was some action. Issue 2 was more investigation. Issue 3 was more building the story. Now, issue 4, it all comes together.
Hmm.
So, we've been building for 4 issues so far. And here we are.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in, but reading the issues because I've read them and I like I said I enjoy it, but it's one of these things where you got to have that like up and down, right? You can't always be at 11. You can't always be at like a 1. There's always this balance of storytelling, but also having some nice action sequences,
Yeah.
having some things that get revealed during something that's happening, right? You don't want talking heads all the time. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
like
it's like a balance, like you said,
yeah.
because it's like I don't want talking heads all the time, but I don't want a fight scene the entire like 30, 40 pages. Like I want there has to be those breaks in there in
Yeah.
between because it serves to the story. And especially too, this is a bad girl book, and
Hmm.
um it typically isn't a genre that is known for like focusing on the story right away,
Yeah.
unless it's like Lady Death or like Evangeline or She.
Hmm.
There's a lot of more just you know, I don't want to use the word like boob books. Let's be honest
Hmm.
here. There's a
Yeah.
lot of them roaming around there on Kickstarter. Nothing wrong with that, but I think what Purity has. It is a love letter to the '90s, and I think I was studying a lot of how those '90s bad girl books were made, and just
Yeah.
the plot behind them, and so the substance that was in those books I really tried to emulate in Purity. So I always said she was the newest bad girl on the block, and now even in the 2020s, I'm trying to like. I don't want to sound too full of myself when I say this, but I want to like be part of that next wave of like the bad girl books, like
Yeah.
the ones that stick around. So it's a lot of building, it's a lot of world building, but issue four especially, I think we are breaking that ice a little bit. So I'm
Yeah.
really happy where the story's going.
And there's fantastic covers. Like I mean, I'm
Thank
friends with
you.
Justin. He's a fellow Pacific Northwestern up here, and yeah, he does great work. And I mean, not not familiar with, is it Mariano?
Yeah, Mariano Benitez Chapo. Him and I went to the Cuber School together.
Okay.
Um, he's a great guy. He's currently doing a lot of Dynamite stuff. He's worked
Hmm.
on. I colored his Wacky Racist story. He's currently doing a lot of Vampirella stuff.
Okay.
He's working on Elvira and like other titles as well. Dynamite's like the main company he's worked for. He's an amazing artist. Like
Yeah.
his storytelling is phenomenal. I'm so happy he's getting more mainstream stuff, but he he was actually the first cover for this book, and I actually had that cover for almost 2 years.
Nice. Nice. I mean, even Bill. I mean, this cover is fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
Bill's a friend of mine.
yeah.
I've met Bill at a New Jersey show. I want to say about 4-ish years ago, like
Hmm.
2020, like 2021. It was like in the heat of COVID. We were at a New Jersey convention when things started opening up again,
Yeah.
and I really liked his stuff. We kept in contact for years, and then we just became friends. Like, and
Hmm.
um, he's very picky with who he does covers for,
Yeah.
and he told me he's like, look, because he does a lot of stuff for Dan Mendoza and Zombie Tramp, and he does a lot of
Yeah.
Lady Death. He does like some Zenoscope covers. So it's he told me he's like, look, I'm very picky and choosy with who I do covers for because it's just my schedule. But he's like, you're a friend of mine. I promised you a cover. I'm going to deliver you a cover. So I was
Nice.
like,
Nice.
dude, you are a saint. So I
Yeah.
really, love what he did for it. Bill's a great guy. If you ever
Yeah.
have the chance to work with him, it's always a pleasure to work with him. He's
Yeah.
very easy to work with. But yeah,
I mean, Marissa's is another phenomenal artist. Like every single one of these covers, I just
yeah,
you know,
that was
they're
she was
yeah.
an interesting one too because that was one of the I was very pleasantly surprised by Marissa because I feel like we've always were like parallel to each other, but we've never
Yeah.
really like had a conversation. Like we're like surrounding ourselves with the same people we work with, like
Hmm.
relatively
Hmm.
same people for the most part. And I never had a conversation with Marissa until one day she actually reached out, and she was like, "Hey, I want to say like I really love Purity, and I really love the design of the character, and I would love if you're open for covers at the moment. I'd love to
Hmm.
do a cover for her." And I was like, "Absolutely." I was like, "You are on this
Yeah.
place, Marissa Pope. Like you are awesome. Like
Yeah.
I've been following her stuff for a while." And
Yep.
I know she works a lot with Mike DeBalfo, and
Hmm.
Mike
Hmm.
DeBalfo is actually a Kubrick grad, so there's that little connection there as well.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, it was a great cover. Hedwin's Aldevar on colors, and there's also a not safe for work version as well.
Yeah.
This is the first Purity campaign that features a not safe for work cover. Every campaign I always put in the survey of like, oh, what can we do better next time? And a
Right.
lot of backers really wanted a not safe for work cover. So you ask and
Yeah.
you shall
Yeah. There
receive.
you go. Yeah. I mean, I think as indie creators, we're always there's always that balance of making sure that we listen to our fans, but also, making sure that we do what's pure, no pun intended, but what's pure to the character, right? We don't
Yeah.
want to like, although fans may kind of want something, but we have to, as creators, say, are we okay with that? You know what I mean? Are we okay going outside of maybe what that character may or may not be? And Courtney's cover, fantastic as well. We're both, she's done
Yeah.
covers for my books and your stuff all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, she's. I call her the veteran purity cover artist because, especially after we did that special edition cover a few months back, now she's done a cover for every single issue, and she's a
Mm-hmm.
fan favorite. She's great to work with. She's a friend of mine. But
Mm-hmm.
this cover in particular, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do a cover of Satan or purity. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, let's dig a little deeper and I noticed since issue 2, there's been a little bit of a following of Satan's love interest Iris. So I was
Okay.
like, let's have fun with this character.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun drawing this character and designing this character, and I'm like, I think Courtney would really nail this cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her keep it very 90s, keep it very simple. Like I want like a white background, a plain background, just the figure. She's the love interest.
Right.
She is the I don't want to use the word like trollop of the underworld, but she's definitely the most promiscuous uh hellion in the underworld. So I felt like having her hold a skull and with like all the lipstick marks on it, I felt that's
Mm-hmm.
very on brand to the character. Um,
Yeah.
Without giving too much away, um, everyone should stick around because issue 5, something really massive happens to the character. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to say what. I'm not alluding to anything. But just keep your eyes peeled. Just keep your eyes peeled. Something really interesting is going to happen to that character.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, we'll be here for it. I worked with Greg Bow as well. Phenomenal artist. Him and his colorist. The name escapes me. Yeah,
Gwen
Glenn.
Delagot, and
Yeah,
uh, that's like another. They're just. I love Greg Bow and Gwen because they're
yeah,
just awesome people to work with. They're awesome people in general,
yeah,
but I just always love working with people who are just very easy to work with.
yeah, yeah.
And we were like shooting ideas for this cover. There are certain covers I give like free reign to. I've accepted that. Like I was very strict about that. But there are a lot of covers that I like to also have my input in, and like I like
Mm-hmm.
to, shoot ideas and figure out like a really effective design. And this was one of them. Greg Bow, even Gwen, it added some input too. So we all like really helped make this cover come to life. And I really loved the gargoyle. Like I thought that was
Yeah,
such an incredible touch. Was the
yeah.
gargoyle? Hmm.
And being in Salem, I mean, it totally fits, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think too. Like when it comes to drawing Salem, I since it's in the distant future, it's 2092 or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 2092. Um, I still wanted to keep some old architecture, but also
Mm-hmm.
Salem isn't really a city, but I feel like in the future I built it up to have some city-like elements. Like let's put a
Mm-hmm.
skyscraper in
Yeah,
Salem. So you could doll it up a little bit for the sake of comics, but
right.
I feel like this is like a good balance of having that old architecture and then also incorporating some futuristic elements too.
Yeah, Salem. I don't want to say it's a town because it has that town, that very small, quaint town feel. But it's definitely not a city. It is nowhere near like a robust big city. I, the wife and I went there for Halloween a few years ago, and it was chaos. It was so much fun, but it's like this really inviting, cozy, East Coast town. It just has that vibe. So, and of course your cover, you know,
Yeah.
which is great.
Thank you. That was actually a lot of fun to do. Inks by he was one of my students, Jesse Marsh.
Hmm.
He's a big indie artist. Like he does a lot of cool underground stuff, but he really added that flair to Purity's flame armor and her
Hmm.
swords. Like it was a really awesome cover to work
Nice.
on.
Yeah. So I mean, again, a lot of great covers. That
Thank you.
actually is quite a bit. That's
Yeah. So, yeah. So one thing, by the way, one thing I love that Kickstarter has now are these tabs to the
oh
left.
yeah,
Like,
they're
so
awesome.
convenient. I like shout out to Kickstarter. I love that. I think it's convenient because at the same time, like we want to put our heart and soul into our campaigns, and
Yeah.
I'm very pro being very wordy of things, but
Hmm.
sometimes you get a backer who just wants to go straight to the covers, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
like the convenience of that as well. So, but yeah, we this time around we're offering a lot of the usual tiers that I back, but more
Hmm.
upgraded. Now that we have 4 issues in, there's a catch up tier available. So if
Yeah.
you're new to
Nice.
Purity, don't worry, you could always get your digital catch up tier, and we're also offering physical catch ups as well
Okay.
in the add on section.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because I know people love digital, PDFs and things like that, which is great. It's a
Yeah.
nice kind of thing to offer, and a lot of people back that. But to have that physical catch up, I'm one of those comic fans, artist, writer, whatever that loves physical books. So
Yeah.
for me, like having a campaign, if I because there are times like we jump into we find a Kickstarter that's 3, 4, 5 issues in, and it's like, oh, I love this. I want more. So it's always nice to offer that. And yeah,
Yeah.
the side option is great as someone who is a professional designer and has done UI work. Like this is something that should have been there from the beginning, but
I
it's good that they've added it.
It's funny because like looking back, I remember like the first campaign I did, and I had no add-ons, nothing,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, oof. Like looking back, I'm like, from then to now, I'm like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
growth. But like this has definitely been very helpful. Like all these
Mm-hmm.
like little things that Kickstarter is offering. Another thing
Yeah.
I should mention too, we are offering late pledges this time around. So
Okay, nice.
when the campaign ends, I'm leaving it up for 2 weeks,
Okay.
and uh, if you missed our campaign, don't worry. You'll have 2 weeks to, check it out. If you want to back it, it'll still
Mm-hmm.
be available.
Nice. And then this is all the covers, right?
Yeah, so I offered both bundles, the cover run, which features just all the safer work covers, and then the
Mm-hmm.
not safer work version as well,
Mm-hmm.
for Marissa's cover, because even though it's a bad girl book, even though I know for the most part the clientele that is going to be backing these books, there's going to occasionally be someone who maybe just wants the whole cover run, and
Mm-hmm.
they might just don't want the not safe for work
Right.
cover, and that's totally okay. So I wanted to give that option available.
Yeah, I do that as well. And I find success with that. You just it's like a cover bundle, exactly what you did, and it's pretty successful.
Thank you. And then digital commission tier. I like doing the commission tiers. I get a few every campaign.
Hmm.
I'm offering digital services 9 by 12 commission. It comes with the standard cover and all the digital rewards.
Hmm.
Okay,
Nice.
and then the
And then
traditional one,
traditional, yeah, nice.
same thing, 9 by 12. It's a little pricier because of just shipping, because it's going to be a
Oh yeah,
separate shipment for your order. And then you get all the digital rewards as well.
nice, nice.
So the infamous heroic Hellion tier, I tweak it every time. Um, it's an 11 by 17 commission by yours truly. It will be full rain. It could be a digital, it could be traditional,
Okay.
it could be full colored, it could be black and white, it could be a cover. Like if you're an
Hmm.
indie creator out there looking for new cover artists, this is a great opportunity. If you're interested in my work, if you like my work, I could this could serve as a cover commission slash you
Hmm.
get all the books, all the rewards with it.
Nice.
So it's just kind of like that really cool package deal.
Yeah, original art. For me, again, that's something else that a lot of people like. Even when I do conventions, we do conventions. People they love original art. I don't totally understand it, but I'm not complaining. you
Yeah,
know.
I agree. Well, I always like that because it keeps the essence of a Comic Con alive
Yeah.
when there's a lot of
Yeah.
original art. So I always appreciate when people come and like buy books or buy like some of the covers that I ink traditionally. Like I'll
Hmm.
bring to shows. So But yeah, so here are the stretch goals. We've already unlocked two of them. So the $3,400 tier is a brand new trading card. It's the Heroic Hellion version of Purity's card by Dan Donnelly, also known as First American Manga on
Hmm.
Instagram. He created his own manga called Death Trap. It's a military comic. It's great. I am very fortunate to be good friends with Dan for over a decade now. We went to the Gilbert School together, and I pretty much have seen Death Trap just come to life over the years.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
me and Dan are we're really close. So I was very fortunate to have him do the trading card art for this specific card, and
Nice.
for the 3600 stretch goal. We are introducing the next set of Purity Chibi stickers because
Nice.
every issue we have a little chibi version. I think issue 3 was Satan. Issue 2 I think was Purity, and someone else. Like we would always offer. I like the idea of just chibi stickers.
Hmm.
So this time around we have the Purity issue 4 version of Purity as a chibi, and then we also have an Iris sticker. So it's just to add to your collection. And then the next
Nice.
stretch goal we're so close to hitting is that backers will receive a printed version of the 90s digital print created by yours truly. It's really my attempt at doing it very 90s and just even
Hmm.
down to the colors, which surprisingly enough, no one realizes how hard it is to color in like a 90s
It is
style, by the
very
way.
tough.
Because
Yes.
like there are so many elements where it's like this feels wrong, but it's also correct at the same time,
Yes.
and you're like,
Yeah.
it just I'm like, okay. So that print will be available as a printed version in your reward for all the printed backers.
Hmm.
Um, then if we hit 4200, you get the Sky Maiden Studios bookmark set, so you'll receive um, just a regular black and yellow Sky Maiden bookmark, and you'll receive a Purity bookmark. And then if we hit our final stretch goal, which is 4,400, all previous stretch goals uh, will be received, and you'll get mentioned in the book as our thank you on our thank you page.
Nice.
Um, so, and then here are add-on options. So, like I said, we're offering single digital issues first of Purity number 1, 2, and 3, and like I said, great way to catch up. Maybe
Yeah.
you've read number 1 and 2 and just need number 3. This is a good option. And then this is another really cool add-on that features your artwork.
Yeah.
Backers who back the Dark Space Studios digital bundle. Try saying that 20 times.
Yeah. I never thought of
uh,
that.
yeah, people the digital bundle like it just but anyways, anyone who backs this will receive a digital print from yours truly up there.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to like point like up there, Todd.
I'm
um
floating.
yeah, you're floating. But anyone who backs this add-on will receive a digital print that features all of our characters together, and
Yeah.
also a digital copy of Ice Pick number 1. So this is like I love doing. Especially this was an idea that I started in issue 3 of Purity. I love
Hmm.
the idea of promoting other artists and other
Hmm.
creators and getting my viewership to read their viewership and vice versa. So
Yeah.
I always think this is always just a great opportunity for that and a great tier for that. And I hope people back this and like you know gravitate to your stuff. I want more people to like read Ice Pick and Annabelle, and like I said, I just really love these indie team ups.
Yeah, and this was an honor and a pleasure to do this. You reached out to me, and it was just like I have no idea. I like the purity character, and then the idea like we've talked about before, but it was like, what am I gonna do? So it was a lot of fun figuring all this out, and this actually is the first time you get to see Annabelle's costume. So this is something where up until this point she was just kind of like in jeans and in a shirt. She really, in the story, she doesn't really get know of her powers or anything like that until later in the stories. But this is like the first full reveal. So yeah, I did the pencils, inks, colors, and I traditionally do all this. So this is traditional pencils, traditional inks. on paper. So it was a lot of fun. It was fun just diving into Purity and Salem and
And
all the
I always
fun stuff.
like I always ask this to anyone who draws Purity, like, and it's just more so like, yeah, and you could be fully honest, but like,
Yeah.
um, how was it drawing the character? Because this isn't like supposed to be like an ego boost for me or anything.
Hmm.
I feel like I want to make sure it's comfortable drawing the character. You know what I mean? Because like there are characters out there that are like very complex to draw. Like
Hmm.
I've been commissioned to draw like Witchblade so many times, and while I love Sarah Pazzini,
Yeah.
that suit is so annoying to draw. So like, how was it drawing Purity?
No, it was different, and for me, because as an indie creator, I've been really wrapped up in my own characters for really the last 10 years. I have done other indie work, but mostly it's my own stuff, and that's my kind of own fault that I don't put myself out there as like available for cover work or for commissions and stuff like that. I just end up staying within my own world, which I need to branch out and offer services because I love doing this kind of stuff. But for Purity, you sent me a lot of references, so it was nice to be able to say, okay, what's her right leg? How does that look, or left leg, and where's everything going on? It's funny the way, not haha funny, but it's just funny that her hair is so big because I've had my wife say like, you draw really big hair, and I'm like, I grew up in the 90s. I have three sisters. Two of them had super big hair in the late 80s because they're older than me, right? So like I grew up with big hair. And I love hair metal and power metal, and I know you love power metal, so it's like big hair. I was like, I get to draw a character with like really big hair, and it was kind
Yeah,
of fun. Yeah, no, it's a really, I think it's a sexy kind of bad girl costume, and I think when you dive into, and I had to do that with Ice Pick because that's my kind of love story to 90s comics as well, like superhero stuff, and it's very much rooted in superhero 90s kind of fun. Purity's the same way, and when you dive into what like the kind of strong superhero females bad girl thing is, the costume nails it, like the attitude nails it, the powers, all, the backstory, everything is kind of nailed within the character and the idea, and I think that's
yeah.
what's important is it's it's just pure to that genre. And so it was a lot of fun. I had fun with it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, like it was the conception of Purity. I mean, like the character in theory has been, an idea for over 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't about till maybe like 7 years ago where I really changed her design and I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be more of that classic bad girl kind of style. So when it came to just conceiving the character as a whole, a lot of references like, what's to Lady Death, what's to Evangeline, what's
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
she, like how do I just make a standard bad girl character that has kind of like that impact as
Mm-hmm.
those characters had back in the 90s, and how do I bring it to a modern present day audience? Because the bad girl genre has kind of, in my opinion, from the early conception of like in the early 90s to up until now, it's been kind of like a roller coaster
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it was very big in the 90s. I feel like every mainstream book had a bad girl character archetype of some sort. Then the early 2000s hit, you still saw it. Then like the 2010s, I think it kind of fizzled a little bit in the
Yeah.
2010s. And then there was like right before COVID, there was just kind of like a big resurgence
Yeah.
of that genre and the market with it. And, now is, weirdly enough, while I say now is the time to self-publish your own comics, now is the time to make a bad girl character because I think there's definitely a prominent market for it. And while like mainstream comics, you have Black Cat, you have Catwoman, Poison Ivy, um, Black Canary. Like I don't know, there's just something special about just the indie versions of those and the indie bad girl, club, if you want to call it a club. So I don't know. It's just a really good time to do those kinds of books now. But
Yeah, I agree. I think when you start thinking about the indie scene and what we do as indie creators, I think that there's a definite uh, kind of break from the norm. You know, if you go from even the big top five other companies out there, yeah, I put Dynamite in there. You know, Dark Horse, Image, Marvel, DC. You know, those times they play it very safe. I think they really do. I think they play it a little safe with their storytelling, with their art, with everything that they do, and maybe because they're larger companies and they have more to kind of be
yeah,
concerned about. I think indie creators like yourself and myself actually, we can just tell whatever story we want. We,
yeah,
if there's nudity in it, okay. If there's swearing in it, okay. There's no comics code anymore. And I think for me, I can say like personally, I like to tell more gritty real life stories as opposed
yeah.
to relationships just life has too much drama already, so I like super fantastical stuff, and we can
I
do that.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like I've always realized this, like, oh, not always, but like probably like my teenage years, I've realized that, you know, superhero comics is its own genre. There's comics
Hmm.
beyond that. Like people forget about those things. People don't realize that all of comics isn't just superheroes, and like there's drama, there's horror, there's fantasy,
Right.
there's sexy comics, there's more mature themed comics, there's comics for little kids, there's comic like
Hmm.
there's so many, like it's endless the amount of, you can even make up your own genre if that's
Yeah.
even possible, of like there's so many opportunity and avenues you could take, especially with indie comics. So
Yeah.
it's endless. And like that's the other thing too, like you said, like the big two playing it safe and all, they play it safe because at the core their audience is always going to be like a 12-year-old 11-year-old kid, so it's like I could understand you know why, but that's even more of a reason to put out your own stuff. And like
Hmm.
you could set how you want your audience. Like,
Right.
is your audience more like mature readers? Great, make books
Yeah.
for the mature readers. If your audience is more for like young adults or young, like preteen, like you could set the bar for those individual
Right.
things. And I that's it's very freeing. It's very you're not bound by Spider-Man, or you're not bound
Right.
by Batman. Like you can do your whole thing.
And you can always do something different and pivot, right? And there's
Yeah.
just, to me, like you use the word freedom, and I agree. Like I've done that with my characters and stories. Like I write different genres and I experiment. Like what do readers like? What do my fans like? So yeah, it's a lot of fun being an indie creator. We get to do a lot of stuff that you know most people don't get to do.
We definitely triple our job responsibilities, but
We
it's
do.
all in fun because we like. I feel like not many people out there could really say that I make comics for a living, or I get to
Yeah.
make my own comics. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that's such a big flex.
Yeah, it's
So
I I tell you, the first time I went to a convention with my own comic and people bought it, I mean, I was just floored. I was like, there's no way I'm going to sell this. There's just no way. And sure enough, 10 years later, we're still doing it.
yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
and it's such an awesome feeling too that like people are like very invested in your character
Mhm.
and their stories, and they like um there's um there's like people online who actually like review my books. And
Yeah.
he like it's such a humbling experience, like it just like I it's just so, I'm so grateful for that. Like there's one guy in particular, his name is Sean James, really great guy, but he always backs for like my books, but he puts he dedicates time to really review my books, and I really
Mhm.
love that. Like I always look forward to his reviews, and he's a purity fan. I really
Mhm.
am grateful for that. So it's such a cool feeling just to have someone be like they're invested in your products, they love your character, they love reviewing your book. It's really you know, it's very really special.
Yeah.
Another thing too, now that it's there,
Yeah.
I always like I'm very proud of this, but I always while Kickstarter you could obviously put, whether or not you use or don't use AI. One thing I really take pride in with Sky Maiden Studios is that we are an AI free company.
Hmm.
We all of our artists, all of our interior pages, all of our even our graphics. They are not under the influence of AI. I really have a very prominent stance on the use of AI in
Yeah.
art. I'm very against it, and I don't want that trickling into my books or my products. Like, unfortunately, we live in a comic book industry where by the day you're seeing AI being utilized more and more
Yeah.
into comics, especially on Kickstarter. We see a lot
Yeah.
of comics that are driven by AI, and it's kind of shitty. No,
It
pardon my French, but
yeah, it's sad. I agree.
I really, yeah. So I really take pride in offering a book that are offering just a line of books that
Hmm.
are made by human artists, human talents, and no AI will touch my books.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, you can be digital. That's fine. I don't have a preference whether you're a digital artist or, pen to paper type of artist. But yeah, AI is definitely one of those things where, I mean, use reference. As an artist, we reference everything every day. Whatever our eyes see is what we reference to do art. Art is kind of that interpretation of reality. But AI is just a whole different thing,
Yeah,
and I'm also strongly against it for many different reasons.
yeah,
A lot of us artists are against it, but you're right. You definitely see
yeah.
a
Well, like
rise
one
in
thing,
it.
yeah. Well, one thing I've like, what I don't like about it, it takes away the creativity and the originality
Yeah.
of what makes art so special and impactful.
Hmm.
Especially in times like today where it's like where you find out that certain AI programs will sample other artist stuff and incorporate
Hmm.
it into this new piece. And, you know, if you like, I feel like if any of us went down that rabbit hole, we would be shocked and see if like how many AI generators have sampled some of our stuff that we probably haven't had no idea. It's scary, and it's not fair to us artists. And I'm very happy that even though it's progress, it's slow progress. I read recently that they passed a bill that AI can't be copywritten,
Hmm.
or
Yeah,
if you
that's a
use AI,
win.
that's a win.
Yeah.
Is it the full win? No,
No.
but it's definitely a battle that was won, and so we're making
Yeah.
progress. Like with that said, like you're definitely going to see people in the creative industry. You're going to see them try and figure out what they can get away with
Right.
first, and then like because I think collectively they know that they can't replace like the art, but maybe they're replacing like production artists and stuff,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
sucks. But you know, now that people are watching those who use AI more and more frequently with that kind of stuff, I worry that people are going to be a little more meticulous and a little more like calculated with how they use AI and see what they get away with. Um, One thing in particular, which for me, it's like a big slap in the face, is like, you know, I see so many people animating their comic book covers and animating, their own personal comic book covers, which
Hmm.
like it still sucks because you're like, sure, it's your art, you can do whatever you want with it, but you're you're part of the problem then
Right.
because you're
Yeah.
allowing this.
Well,
And yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, that was it. It was just like I feel like people are just adding to it, you know?
I think there could be a right way to do it, but it has to do with the artists have to not only agree to it, but also somehow work out compensation. Like if you're going to want to use my art, there has to be royalties involved. There has to be,
Oh,
what percentage of my art was used? Was it an eyeball? Was it a finger? Was it a whole arm or body, torso,
yeah,
head? I
exactly.
mean, and then how do you navigate that landscape? But again, that would be up to the artist to agree. I
Yeah,
do know that working for the years, I've kind of gotten away from Adobe, but I know for when Adobe started this, and as far as I know, even today, like if you do stock photography for Adobe, there is a checkbox to say you can use my photos in their Firefly model. But again, like, are they? I don't think they're seeing compensation, and that's a kind of similar thing, similar but different with the whole college sports thing. For years, college athletes couldn't get paid, but their likenesses were being used on to sell merchandise. So where do you draw this line of
yeah,
what's like morally right, financially
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, I think for like on a very small level, like say if and this is just totally just for the example. Say
Mm-hmm.
if you were someone who uses AI in comics and whatever, um, I would expect, say, if you hired me or wanted to hire me for a cover, like it should not only be in writing, but it would be like, hey, we're gonna use AI to animate this cover.
Mm-hmm.
We would like your consent for this, and
Right.
um, if they're like and or say like sure you can use that, but I'm also want to be like you said, I want to be compensated for that.
Yeah.
There's an extra fee for that because just like that's the thing I always question. Like so many people are like animating these covers and stuff, but you're not giving permission to the artist. And I think some people just feel that, oh, I hired this artist, that means I own the art. I'm like,
No. No.
no, like I mean, maybe technically if you like, paid for the art or whatever, but it's just the integrity behind it. You're going against an artist and just felt
Yeah.
like feeding AI with their work
That
that
and
they
that's the thing.
draw.
Yeah, you're feeding the machine that lives on forever. So your art is going to be constantly used forever, right? So then
Yeah.
how do we as creators kind of navigate that, or however it works out? Yeah, I'm pretty adamant about not using it, but again, we all use references, and I understand that, but I think a lot of people are in a way almost abusing AI, you know what I mean, because it's so simple, it's gotten so good so quick. Like it is impressive, I'm not gonna lie. Like I've seen some AI stuff and I'm like, wow. Like I could not do that on my own. So but again, you're kind of stealing from Peter to pay Paul type of thing. You know what I mean? So,
And just, especially, it just never looks good. And like I
hmm
always question how like editorial works for that. Like for example, maybe if AI really messed up that character's hand, how do you tell
yeah,
AI, "Oh, I need you to like tilt that hand about like 45 degrees and like,
yeah,
tilt it a little more and tilt it a little further more and then I want
yeah,
it to like clench its fist but like fix that like how do you like do like the nitty-gritty stuff?" And
and
that's the
that's what
part.
it's lacking. It's tremendously lacking in that area.
But there's also that other aspect too. Unfortunately, the inevitable is that someone could be so against AI, like myself, like you,
hmm
but at the end of the day, from a consumer standpoint, it's not gonna change what the reader wants, unfortunately. And like
Right.
at the end of the day, if they go into a comic shop and they're seeing a cover that's made by AI, for a person who doesn't really know much about the behind the scenes and creation of that cover,
hmm
to them, if it looks cool, I'll buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so that's the other sad reality with AI where from the consumer
Consumer.
standpoint,
Right.
it's not really like well, I shouldn't say all of them, but like a good chunk of them, it's
Yeah.
really not like a deal breaker that
No.
someone uses AI, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
you just got to realize that, and I think you just understand that there's still going to be a very prominent, um, crowd of people who are anti AI. So I don't think that's going away anytime soon. So
No.
it's fine. You just, like I said, you just accept that inevitable fact.
Yeah, and I'm glad that conventions are finally starting to crack down. And for me, it's kind of a twofold thing to combat the fans or the consumers that are like, oh, it just looks cool, so I'll buy it, and I really don't care if it's AI. For me, I try to educate those people if they ask or if it comes up in conversation, like, hey, this is what's going on with AI, and this is how it's kind of stealing in a way from artists like myself. And that's actually what fuels me to draw cool stuff. And like
Yeah,
you brought up earlier, like sometimes doing 90s artwork, it's not always right, but it's cool. And for me, like doing Ice
yeah,
Pick, it wasn't, I know it's like, no pun intended, a cool character with ice and all that, but it was always about like a cool pose, a dynamic, fun, eye catching thing. And that's kind of my way to combat, like, yeah, that's cool AI, but my book is hand drawn and it's cool too.
yeah. And you have like the one thing is you have full control. I feel like
Right.
you lose control when it comes to AI. Like um, you know, like I say, you're just feeding a robot. That's
Yeah.
no, it's really, you know. Did were you at Emerald City?
No, I got waitlisted, and this year I didn't get in. Last year I got waitlisted and I got in, but
Yeah.
not this year. So
But I wonder what they're because I should ask Justin, but I wonder
yeah,
if there were any people trying to sell AI at that show. Because I know San Diego and New York have a strict no AI
yeah.
thing, but I'm curious to know if like Emerald City also had that kind of.
I haven't seen them publicly come out and say that there's no AI. I haven't seen anything on the website. The application had nothing about AI. So it's not like front facing so much as far as whether they allow it or not. But yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of applied to a couple more conventions this year, so we'll see if I
Which
get
ones
into
are you doing?
those. There's one about what is it, about 45 minutes south of Seattle. It's right by the I think it's the county or state fairgrounds. They do it at the fairgrounds, so it's got like
Nice.
multiple like pavilions, and it's a
Kind of
huge.
like
It's called
Garden State. It's like Garden State Winterfest, where it's at the Sussex County Fairgrounds.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they're all covered, which is nice. But it's called SummerCon, and it's actually becoming, if not already, it's not as big as Emerald City, but it's a better convention than Emerald City. Like
yeah,
when I was at that convention, I would make more in 2.5 days than 4 days at Emerald City. So, I mean,
it's pretty good.
it's more of a fan
Yeah.
convention, like more Comic Con.
Yeah, my convention schedule. So I do some shows. I represent the Hubert School at.
Hmm.
So usually most of them are Fan Expo shows. So I'm gonna this year. I'm gonna be at for the school. I'm gonna be at Fan Expo Denver, in
Hmm.
Colorado, and then I'm also gonna be at Fan Expo Chicago, which I'm very excited
Nice.
for. I always want to go. But for myself, I'm doing all my Jersey shows: Garden State
Hmm.
Comic Fest, Garden State Anime Fest, Winter Fest. Um, but then I'm also doing Terrificon this year.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to
So,
Chicago?
no, I always wanted to go.
Oh, it's great. It is such an awesome town. I late 90s when I met my wife, we she wasn't even into comics, and I've been into comics since like the late 80s. And we originally from Cleveland, so we would drive to Chicago like 2000, 2000. I mean, for like four or
Is
five
it how
years. We
far? Now, curious how far is the drive?
from Cleveland, it's about 5.5 hours.
That's not bad.
No, no, it was fun. It
Not
was a
all
road
flights.
trip. You know what I mean? It was a fun road trip. And I mean, we're talking early 2000s was the golden age, like Top Cow Image. Like it's so many things were blowing up in the early 2000s. But that's back when it was Wizard World, and we got to meet the late great Michael Turner several times, like all the Image guys, most of them, I
How
should
now?
say.
How was he as a person?
I can't tell you how great he was. Like no matter what I say, it's an understatement. The man was phenomenal. he, I know a lot's changed in 25 years, but I would say that he didn't charge for signatures. He didn't have a limit on how many books you could sign. He sat there and literally would have a conversation with you. It wasn't just like you walk up, you sign your book, and move on. He was just like, "Oh, we're big fans." He's like, "Oh, what do you like? What characters?" And my wife loves Fathom, so we would just talk to him. And I mean, the whole crew at Aspen, and even now, like I'm still friends with a lot of the people there that we met
Yeah.
in the early
My,
2000s.
my one friend used to do a lot of Aspen books. His name is V. Ken Marion.
Oh,
Uh,
love him. Yeah, he's got great work.
yeah, yeah, he's a friend of mine. He's such a great guy. That's how he said he got his start. He got before he started doing DC stuff because now he's on Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But before he did his DC stuff, he was at Aspen for a while. He did a lot of like Soulfire and
Mm-hmm.
uh,
I
that was
have all those
cool.
books.
Yeah. Speaking of Fathom, I just saw on Kickstarter they had a big omnibus for Fathom.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Fathom was the one I
Turner.
have to read again because I was really into Witchblade,
Mm-hmm.
regards to Michael Turner, but like I only had like a couple of like I remember there was a Tomb Raider and Fathom crossover that I
Yes.
read years ago, but like
Yeah.
I never really stuck with Fathom as
Yeah.
I did with Witchblade, so I want to get into Fathom.
It's the Turner era is it's special, and I'll say that. Like the artwork is special. JD Smith on covers was phenomenal. I think Joe Weems did the inks. Like the whole crew, the writing. It's kind of almost 90s, even though it's like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I think it
And
came out what 98, 99.
I think so. Yeah, 98, 99. And honestly, I want to say Turner only did 14 issues because like his battle with cancer and all that stuff. But like he never his artwork never suffered. So like the later issues are just as great as the early issues. And I stuck with Fathom quite a bit. I think my wife kind of like was up and down because they would always do like 4, 6, 10 issue miniseries and different artists and stuff. Uh, and what I think Mike DeBuffalo did a Fathom run as well, which
Oh
is
wow.
really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Which
pretty
actually also
fun.
makes me think too. You mentioned just a good point too. Like it wasn't until recently where I realized a lot of these main series are only like 18 issues. That's like the main full run.
Hmm.
Evangeline was only I think like 19 issues for
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
main story, and the rest were either just spin-offs or like. And I don't know if that's just the culture of bad girl books where it's like the run for this book was like 15 issues of the main story and then
right.
ended like that maybe opens the door for you to do like crossovers and like one shot stories and it all just makes sense. But I never realized that until now. I think Witchblade, I think, was
25,
yeah around there.
26. Well, no, I mean, actually, no. Witchblade went. Well, I mean, Michael Turner's run was around the 25 issues.
Yeah,
Like that's what he did, but it kept going with Randy Green, and it went into like
I
hundreds.
love Randy Green stuff.
Yeah, huge inspiration for Annabelle. I would say Randy Green is, and Turner's. I mean, how can you not be inspired by Turner's artwork?
Oh,
But that's me nerding out about all the guys and comics and stuff we grew up on. But where can people find you? I mean, obviously they can search Purity on
yeah.
Kickstarter and find that campaign. I'll have all the links in the description once
Yeah.
this releases.
So I'm pretty active on Instagram on at Nick Caponi Art, or
Mhm.
you could also follow my company's Instagram, Sky Maiden Studios. And then I'm on Twitter or X or however you want to
Mhm.
call it these days, just at Nick Caponi Art, and I'm also on Facebook at Nick Caponi. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like I have the most presence on Instagram. That's where I post
Okay.
a lot of my stuff early. But yeah, you could find me on those sites or follow the Purity Number 4 campaign. Message me on there, say how you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like whatever you could message me on Kickstarter or check out my campaign, back my book, and
Yeah.
if you have any questions on the campaign, just reach out.
yeah, again, I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to reading issue 4. So,
Thank you.
it's a fun book. It's up my alley. It's the darker storytelling and the heaven, hell, all that fun stuff. I mean, not really heaven that we know of yet, but who knows?
Yeah. No, like
But
it. I can't give anything away, but there's definitely there
yeah,
is a heaven in the Purity universe. I'm just um, like I said, I can't give too many things
no,
away. But
I won't
there's
press
a
you
heaven.
because
We will experience that.
yeah, I want it to be a surprise, but you have that good and evil, balance, and I like those kind of stories. So it's been a lot of fun, and I think we'll
Thank
wrap
you.
up this episode here, and I will catch you on the next episode. Thanks.
Catch you later. Thank you for having me.
All right.